Okay, let's move on to the US pre-market movers and chart levels.
Okay, well, I've broken with a sort of tradition here, and rather than pick out individual stocks pre-market, I thought we'd look at some broader measures. So I've gone with the S&P 500 index futures. Shortly before we came on air, they were trading around 1929, down a further 2.16% from Friday's close. And then their stable mate, the Nasdaq 100 index futures, trading around 4,048, down about 3.61%. So US equities look set for another difficult session, and as I say, this sell-off reverberates around the globe. The reason I think that Nasdaq is harder hit is that there were some big moves in Asian technology stocks. But I think Alibaba, I'm right in saying, is one that's floated in the US recently. That's likely to go back below its IPO price this afternoon. And Amazon, I've seen that called down 4% as well. So of the three major US indices, it's the Nasdaq that's probably going to feel the pain the most this afternoon.
And in terms of chart points?
Yeah, just to clarify that when we're talking about levels here, we're actually talking about cash indices levels rather than the futures we've referenced in the pre-market movers. So for the FTSE now, 59.20 is our downside level, and we've got to look for a move back to and above 61.51 for us to make any further headroom. Obviously, near term, the risk is still to the downside. For the DAX, 9,760 now, plays 9,910. Apologies for the wide range there, but that's what we're left with after the sharp moves lower that we've seen in recent days. Moving back to US indices, 1,912 now for the S&P is the downside level to watch, and it could easily test to there. 1926, it would need to get back above and stay above to have any hopes of gaining ground, but as we've seen from those pre-market indications, that's not looking likely. And for the Dow, I think, as I said before we came on air, we've had a 1,000-point change in terms of our support levels over two sessions. So We're now talking about a 15,000 handle, 15,945 on the downside, and that was at 16,949 on Friday. Plays 16,123 to the upside, but again, the risk remains to the downside there, I suggest. The biggest move again,
euro dollar.
Yeah, the dollar, the euro's been fiercely strong, and the dollar, a bit wimpy, I think I can probably say. So 114.51 is our downside level on euro dollar now, and a new big figure in the upside of 115.06. And again, it looks like the euro could push higher and test up above that upside level. Aussie dollar, US dollar slightly more subdued. 72.00 will stick in now as our downside level, plays 72.75.
6-year lows, I think, on that one.
Yeah, the range has widened slightly, as you might expect with the volatility. Perhaps the other surprising move was the yen strength, but I think again that says more about the weak dollar than it does about any benefits to Japan. 119.95 now on our downside, and I believe we have tested below 120 intraday already. Plays 120.62 on the upside. Of course, it wasn't that long ago that we were, in the last week, we were talking about test, or the possibility of a test above 125. So, and then finally, cable, 156.75 on the downside, plays 157.40. Once again, we're trying to assert ourselves above 157 and stay there. But given the way the dollar's performed elsewhere, that possibility shouldn't be ruled out.
Understood.